Hey everyone, it's me, Cam. Call me the average Pokemon fan because I sure am dying of thirst. Me and all my Pokemon have been stranded out in the desert for like a decade without a sip of water. What's that? Is that Fiji water? That's not Fiji water. That's Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's so refreshing. Togepi, you gotta try some of this.
Dang, that shit buzzin'.
Ah! Oh, Pokemon. I can't think of any other franchise that's as loved and hated as you are. On one hand, you've got the irresistible nostalgic charm and classic gameplay. On the other, you've got ideas that haven't been updated in like 20 years. But fear not, my fellow gamers, for Game Freak has finally bestowed upon us a harvest so bountiful, so refreshing, that they will probably force the fans to feed off of it for another 20 years. Let's be real here. After Sword and Shield, Pokemon fans seem to have lost all hope for their beloved franchise, as the internet's grueling consensus shifted from room temperature to as cold as Arctic water pre-global warming. It's safe to say that many vocal fans hated Sword and Shield, and even the most optimistic fans, such as myself, tried desperately to see the good in the promising but underwhelming experience that the game provided. Then, in our darkest hour, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl only deepened the wound once again by giving an experience that could only be described as lackluster at best. But then, just when we needed it most, a peculiar hero stepped up to the plate to save the starving Poke fans from their dark, moist, plushy-filled caves that they dwelled in.
No way.
Pokemon Legends Arceus is here. It is fun, and it has completely changed the feeling and formula of Pokemon to something far more immersive, balanced, and fast-paced. Thank you, God! Myself, like a lot of damaged Pokemon fans, was very worried that this would be the final nail in the coffin if it failed. Or even worse, if it was just another underwhelming, uninspired experience. But, my fellow gamers, trust me when I say that this game feels so refreshing. And if you're a longtime fan, well, prepare to feast. Let's talk about this game, shall we? The good, the bad, and the Arceus cell phone.
Fucking phone call up your pissing ass and get me off this. This is an ex-directory phone and now includes fucking British Telecom. We pay the fucking bills, now get the fuck.
I'm going to be diving into the game a bit here, so there will be some light spoilers, but I definitely won't be focusing on the story much here. Also, as a disclaimer, I haven't completed the game yet, so I probably haven't seen every feature this game has to offer. Please keep that in mind as I present my opinion. I just wanted to get my impressions out pretty quickly to persuade any of my fellow skeptical gamers out there who might be sitting this one out. Do not skip this game. Story-wise, Pokemon Arceus is just a classic isekai anime. No, wrong one. About a nerd getting teleported back to pre-industrial Japan just so everyone can shit on your cargo shorts. It's like middle school all over again. But really, these people just can't stop talking about your cargo shorts for like the first hour of the game. And while we're on the topic, the fashion in this game is a bit weird. Everyone is in traditional clothing except the new professor, who rocks this daring bow tie and beanie combo. Look, I know not everyone can be Professor Sycamore, but come on. Oh my. The first hour or so of the game is a bit of a slog with a whole lot of dialogue and running back and forth. But oh man, when this game opens up, it is glorious. And it's exactly what I've always wanted Pokemon to be without ever realizing it. The core of Pokemon Legends reimagines what the gameplay of Pokemon should look like. What if instead of teleporting into a time-frozen menu to battle and catch Pokemon, it just happened naturally, basically in real time? There are still menus, of course, because the game is, at its core, a turn-based RPG. Thankfully, for all the turn-based haters out there, the pacing of battles has been cranked into overdrive, with battles moving quickly, damage being surprisingly massive, and the difficulty being increased dramatically. Much to my surprise, I found my Pokemon getting KO'd left and right, but it's outside of combat that this game really establishes itself as the evolution of the series. The true glory of the game comes in the form of exploration, and of course, catching Pokemon. To me, the real fun of the game lies in walking around, throwing balls at unsuspecting Pokemon, and running away from the alphas that threaten to blast your beta ass into oblivion. Yes, these big boys are really called alphas. But the real question is, who are the Sigma males of the Pokemon universe? What I really love about the game is the new Pokédex, which features a list of challenges on each Pokemon you can approach a whole bunch of different ways. From catching them to just straight up beating the hell out of them until they're fully researched. Okay, this concept is hilarious because it's kind of like if Charles Darwin, instead of sitting around all day looking at birds, decided instead to just clobber them over the head. But most realistically, you'll just end up throwing thousands of Pokeballs to catch endless amounts of Pokemon, all while observing their cute and peculiar actions in the wild, like some kind of planet Earth photographer.
Mantids will eat anything that moves, including other mantids.
Lastly, this quick look at the game wouldn't be complete without talking about some of the shortcomings of the game, which do exist. I mean, it is a Pokemon game after all, come on. To me, the negatives of this game come almost entirely from the performance and technical aspects, and not from the design itself. Look, the bottom line is that the game graphically does not look like it was released in 2022. I really like the art style of the game, especially the impeccable character design that is pretty much just expected with Pokemon. But man, it could really use some polish. It's definitely missing some of that sparkly HD goodness that most Nintendo games have in this day and age. And when I say this game is rough around the edges, I mean that quite literally, as the character models sometimes literally have some rough pixelated edges. And on top of that, the textures leave a lot to be desired. Also, there's this weird outline thing that pops up only when you're standing near a body of water. It's a bit strange and reminds me of the outline YouTubers use to cover up a terrible Photoshop job. You can look at my most recent thumbnail to see exactly what I'm talking about. The other issue people seem to have with this game is the open world, or the lack of things to do in it. Before I played the game, I was very worried when I saw the gameplay videos. The open world just looked bland and lifeless. And to that, all I can say is that looking at and playing the game are two vastly different experiences. Frankly, I think the open world is detracted by the textures and graphics. In terms of things to do, it would be nice to have a few extra objectives and maybe some explorable landmarks laying around. But the emphasis here, obviously, is going to be on encountering the Pokemon, which the game just does fantastically. So personally, I'm not that upset with the open world. In the future, I'd like to see it expanded upon, but for this game, I find it to be just fine. Not exceptional, but definitely not terrible. Besides, have you ever walked around the real world before? There's not much to do, and it's not like there are constant lookout towers to climb or random dudes falling from the sky. As someone who grew up in a rural desert, just trust me when I say there is very little to see or do, unless you happen to stumble upon some abandoned underwear that someone doo-dooed in and left for dead in the middle of a hike. In that regard, I give Pokemon's open world a 7 out of 10, and the real open world a 1 out of 10. Well, there's a lot more that could be said about this game, but I just really want to get back to playing it. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Cam's Corner.